Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So it's iron review for you in this particular video, and this brand is starting to make, I feel, some big strides in the looks department in the players category. I've got three new heads to take a little look at. We're going to hit all three in this video, provide you with some numbers and maybe see if this is an iron potentially you might want to go out there and try in that players category. So as always, when you unwrap some irons for the first time, the initial looks on the back of the club head is what we first really look at, isn't it? These look brilliant. They look really high quality, great finish on it. And the brand I'm referring to is Cobra. And I think they, over the years, they're starting to make better looking golf clubs. I want to say better looking golf clubs, more maybe that traditional shaping that maybe that low handicap golfer really desires to sort of look at. I mean, sometimes we see a lot of tech involved, chunky top lines, power, distance, those sort of things. We've got an MB iron, which is your pure muscle back. We've got a CB, that cavity, small cavity back. And then we've got the King Tour iron, which we're going to take a look at in this video. Now, there is actually 4 irons in this particular lineup in the forged category from Cobra, and the fourth one is the Forged Tech, so that's the hollow bodied one. I have done an actual standalone review on that iron because that did release earlier than these other 3. So I'm not going to hit that today, but that's a little bit more of a higher ball speed, bit more of a stronger loft type of golf club. These are going to be moving into maybe the golfer who's wanting that bit more of that need to look, maybe not that as much explosive sort of power off the club face, a little bit more loft on these and control, repeatability, those sort of ideas. We're going to start off with the King Tour. As I mentioned, it's a fantastic looking golf club. We saw the Tour, which had the MIM technology, I think it was called at the time. This is a replacement to this, and again, it looks fantastic. Initially from the back of the golf club, that beautiful satin finish on it, a little bit of black edging into the graphics there. You can see maybe a different bit of material in the back. We'll talk a little bit about that. Forged head. So initial playing position, it's a good looking iron. Quite a squat blade length. It very much reminds me of a little bit of a T100 sort of shape, a Titleist, maybe a slightly thicker on that top line, but that sort of shaping of the head, squat blade length, little bit of offset there, but does look very nice down by that golf ball. Okay, so this is a 7 iron. This coming in at 32 degrees of loft, so it's not obviously strong, but it's not as weak as the other two we're going to have a look at. And that was a little bit bottom groovy. We're going to test the forgiveness on those low hits straight away there. Just feel that little bit of that vibration on this slightly cold day here at Penrith. That's a nice shot, nice high ball flight. Straight over that flag. Yeah, and there we go. Sort of a very good spin number. I expect to maybe sort of see this loft around that 32 mark, 32 degree mark, around that sort of 6,000 there. So we know we've got some decent sort of stopping power, that spin number. Then couple that with that land angle. You see 50 degree land angle, height 108 feet. It's obviously got some good control, and that comes into land. Oh, that feels superb. Very muted, forged feel, definitely coming through on that iron. Doesn't feel clicky, or it doesn't sound clicky, should I say. So that feel really going to come from this 1025 carbon steel that it actually goes through a 5-step forging process, is what Cobra are saying. Typically most irons go through a 4-step. This has that 5th extra step. Helps a little bit with that grain structure, which obviously comes back to that feel aspect. And I've got to say, they do feel very, very good off that club face. Oh, it's a little bit pulled from me up that left-hand side a little bit. Again, strike was pretty good. So the other aspect will help with that sort of feel and that real sort of control, the sound, the vibration through the club, is in the back of the head we can see this black strip. So they've taken some of the metal out of there, saving weight, redistributing that. We know the benefits of that. And they're replacing that with this TPU material. It's basically like a little bit of a rubber substance that sort of helps to, again, dampen that sort of vibration and give that real sort of, a little bit more of that softer feel. So they can play around with that centre of gravity a little bit, make it a little bit higher in that MOI, but still maintain that forge-like feel and sound. And that does feel good. So the Tour iron, who is this really sort of aimed at? Well, Cobra's saying this is aimed at from the Tour player through to maybe like a 7 handicap golfer. It's a bit of a broad spectrum there, and I think that could stretch a little bit more. I think, you know, I see many sort of 10, 12 handicappers, sometimes a little bit more, that are really good ball strikers. You know, I think that would be something that they could really benefit. I think you need to have a little look in terms of what you want out of that iron. Do you want pure ball speed, distance? Then maybe that 32 loft, might not give you that. That's maybe where the Forge Tech, the hollow construction, a little bit stronger loft might just be a bit more beneficial for you. But availability wise, in the Tour version, go 3-iron right the way through to gap wedge, both right and left-handed. Right, so switching the shaft over now, and obviously these, take note when you look at these close-up images I'm putting on screen, these are the fitting irons, hence why there's a little hole in the at the bottom of the hosel there, obviously a screw where we can interchange shafts through that fitting process. So obviously when you were to purchase these, you're not going to have obviously a screw and that hole in that area. CB iron, so we can see now things just get a little bit more compact. We lose that sort of insert of that TPU rubber material there now. Things start to get a little bit more compact, and again, you definitely sort of see this much less offset now, hardly any offset at all. So if you're not keen looking at offset, this definitely will be more pleasing to the eye. Similar top line as maybe the Tour there, looks to be a little bit squat, but very similar on that shape. Now the loft changes, this is 7-iron, this is 34 degrees. Now this CB and the MB are the same loft, so we can really talk about comboing iron sets here now. Again, depending where you want to change in that set, from this slight cavity to that blade, that is definitely an option and something that Cobra sort of recommend as well. It does look fantastic behind that golf ball. I just like that look where that front of the hose just flows into that leading edge, which is ultimately a little bit less offset. Ooh, that feels beautiful. Fantastic sound, feel, that forged feel. Again, we're still 1025 carbon steel, 5 forging process, but we're just losing that offset little bit of insert in the back of the head. Oh, stunning. It's that feel like the ball's just on that club face that little bit long. It just feels like it's just stuck to it a tiny bit. It's not firing off, as you know, and these aren't designed to have ball speed like, you know, you're going to maybe expect on that Tour iron, and definitely from that Forge Tech iron. So workability is the big word, control, consistency, playability, you know, all those words that maybe the sort of low handicap golfers are really sort of striving for. Not distance, not ball speed, control is what they want. Ooh, that wasn't a good shot. That's a little bit of a shovey touch heel. Come up a little bit shorter maybe. Well, it doesn't look like it, that ball speed wasn't too bad. Yeah, it wasn't bad actually for what felt like a bit of a horrible shove. So availability in the CB and the MB, 3-iron all the way through to gap wedge again. Right and left hand also available. That's stunning. That is a very nice iron. Really enjoy hitting that. Okay, let's move over into the MB and see maybe what the differences are look, if there is any, between that CB and that MB. So same shaft now into the MB. So obviously the back is going to look obviously a lot cleaner. It's a muscle back now. Let's just look at the sole, and there is a difference on that sole, quite a noticeable difference. Really thin on this MB, much slimmer on that sole, where the CB is definitely a little bit wider. So there is a difference in that side of things. When we maybe then pop it into that playing position, I think the blade length looks the same. The offset looks absolutely identical with hardly anything there, but the top edge is definitely a little bit slimmer on that top edge compared to that CB. So this is something that I find when, you know, brands sort of offer that blending of a set, and you're going to have a jump, aren't you? So say for argument's sake you go CB in the long iron, say up to a 6-iron, then you change into the MB 7, 8, 9 into your scoring irons. Sometimes, and I've done this in the past where I've had a set of a blended set, and I feel like I've got two completely different looking golf sets in my bag. Now to be fair to Cobra, the shape of the head looks absolutely identical. The offset does, it's just a little bit of a thinner top line. It's not hugely different, but it is just a bit thinner in that front, but it looks gorgeous down there, that golf ball. You know, if somebody walks in through that door and I hand them that iron and not letting them know what it is from the back, put it in that playing position, I'm not sure they would say to me that's a Cobra iron. Okay, that looks as good as anything out there in that player's iron. Beautiful looking golf club. Oh, that's not the strike you want with an MB iron. That was a bit on that bottom groove. That's where you sort of help me out, golf club please, and that just doesn't maybe quite, I mean it's not that bad to be honest, but you feel the strike on there, definitely feel it, especially when it's a little bit cold as it is today. Oh, gas off the toe. It's flown nice. That's not bad drop-offs really, because that strike wasn't great, that was a bit toey. I think it's maybe just get more of an extreme feedback of those miss hits maybe with this type of iron, where you haven't quite got as much of that perimeter weighting. Obviously there's no slots in there, there's no different materials. This is as as clean as you're going to get it. Right down that flag. Again, touch one groove too low, felt it. Yeah, just dropping off a tiny bit. So obviously you could go right the way through the set with the MB only, and you can do that with the CB as well. So obviously if you did want to go just pure muscle back all the way through, that is also an option. And again, you can obviously combo these. Oh, that's the best strike of the lot. That felt beautiful. Lovely ball flight there. Ball speed to represent that better strike, and a couple of more yards, but some great control in numbers yet again. So a quick look at the dispersion rings there. You can see obviously only small samples I appreciate, but the MB being the blue there, just a little bit tighter, CB in the orange, and the toy see a little bit more distance with that slightly stronger loft there. Okay, and then looking at the numbers here, you can see the tour on the bottom there, so actually got a little bit more club head speed, but not by much to be honest, but you can see ball speed 128.8, obviously that little bit of stronger loft is going to help with a little bit more with that ball speed in comparison to the others. The spin numbers there are all good with them all to be honest, 6,500, 6.8 with the CB, 6.5 with the MB, so all in a good area and quite sort of nice with that tour line there at 32 degrees with a pretty decent sort of spin number there, even though that's slightly stronger off. It's not strong by any means, but it's just a little bit more stronger. So just squeezing that little bit of ball speed with that spin, just a little bit more yardage in total. Post comments down below, let me know your thoughts on the new King lineup in the players category, Tour, CB, MB. Post comments down below and hopefully catch up with you all very soon.